up? This is Jake's Fishing here, and for this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys techniques about flipping and pitching when it comes to fishing. So first I'm going to start off with my spinning rod with a little jig on it, and this one rattles. So what you want to do is just like, you get it like this, and you can hold it like normally thing, and you get it down, I like to about the same length of the reel, and then just hold the line, pull it tight, and then you just flip and let go and it goes. That's what I like to do the best with spinning. I can show you again. Pull, flip the bail, grab this, and you want, or just let the jig drop to about the height of your reel, and then you grab the line again, right like this, and then you pull the line like right here has coils in it. Pull it tight to now it's nice and tight, and then you can just flip and it goes right into it. And there's also another way that's like, if you're fishing heavy cover, like say lily pads, and then you have tungsten on, maybe not like this, would be like a tungsten flipping, and it won't get through. You might just want to reel up, and like you normally would pitch, but you just pitch straight up in the air and it comes down, and it will be easier to go through the lily pad mat if it is higher up, because it gets more speed falling than if you were just to, for say if it's heavy cover, just like to flip it in there. It'd be better if you just take it like this and just flip it up in the air, and then it'll go right down into the lily pads or grass or whatever you're going to use it for. So I think that's really cool. And so if you're easier to flip, you probably want your drag probably a little bit tighter, so like it doesn't like spill if you get stuck on something. And I like to just use, you can use a jig, but I like sometimes tungsten, like a big tungsten weight, and then like maybe like a brush hogger, any kind of worm or whatever you want on it can work. Because I just like doing it. Or there's just another pitch, you can just hold your finger and just like a normal, just throw it out there. That's for more probably like, for me, like short range, like for me to the frisbee right there. It's more short. You can just put it like right there, and like if you see like on the mat, you can just go right onto it. But if you want to get like, just say the snowbank, that's when I like to hold. Right, or another way, instead of doing what I did in the beginning, you flip it and then bring it down, you can have it like, watch, you reel it up, and then you let it come down, and you stop it here, and then you can flick the barrel if you want. If it's easier for you, hold it and then go like this, and it's tight automatically, you can do that too. Then that's more easier to like flip to right at the edge of the weed bed. You could say weed bed, but that's a snowbank. But and if you talk about when you're fishing out there, it'll more likely be a weed bed. And I just like doing it, and it's good to practice, especially if you're in the off season when you can't go fishing every weekend. You can just practice going right to where like you can make a target, whatever you want to hit, set up something and try hitting it. So that's going to do it for this portion. I'm going to get the bait caster, and I'm going to teach you guys how to flip and pitch using the bait caster. So I'm going to go get that, and I'll be back in a minute. Guys, now I just showed you guys how to use the spinning rod and reel to do flipping and pitching. So now I'm going to show you guys how to use the bait caster and to do flipping and pitching. So it's the same thing. For this, you can get it down to your reel, and then you just flip on out. And so, let's say this is the weed bed right here. So if you want to cast your lure near the weed bed and not and like you want to cast it into the weed bed, but you're on like a shore, and it's kind of hard if you're on the shore and you want to try to get it out if it's really far. But sometimes when they're in close, instead of just casting like that, you might miss your target. But when you flip, and if you, it could be lower than your reel, but I like it to be nice and like right next to it. You can flip it out, and it gets right near the weed bed, like every time. See? We're getting it every time. My favorite lure or bait to flip and pitch with would be like a tungsten using a tungsten weight, and you can peg it if you want, so the weight stays where you are. I think it's better to actually peg it, because when you put it and you cast it into the weed bed, it's sometimes it's easier for the weight not to stay on top. It goes with your worm or bait, whatever you're doing, to the bottom of the weed bed. And I think it's better for that. And also, towards with the spinning, if you're fishing like lily pads and they're like, and it's like kind of like your lure goes on the lily pads but doesn't go to the bottom, you can just do the flip like this and go straight up into the air and let it go onto the lily pads that way. And you can also just flip normally like that. But that's for like close cover or something, and I like to put it up higher. Like I don't like to have it right here. If I'm doing that flip, I like to have it like say like up here maybe. So like right there. And then you can just flip right to it. And you can do this with the button rod too. So if you guys have a button rod, I have one. And if you have it, it's just like the bait caster, only you don't use, there's no line, it's just covered, it's a button. It's the same thing. Click the button and you do the same thing for the button rod. It's the same thing for that. It's just different for the spinning because it's not like this. But both are pretty easy to learn if you keep up on it. And like right now, if it's hard, if you can't go fishing as often because of the snow and the weather is not being cooperative, you can just go outside and practice casting and trying to hit, like say like I did with my trick shot video that I put up right before this. You just practice hitting a water bottle or something like that. I think that's a good way to get your practice when you're doing the video, when you're doing a in the off season of fishing, and even when it's the fishing season, just to still get your practice up when you're using it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe for more fishing content, and I'll see you in the next video, and bye.